Welcome everybody to this class. Let's start the class. To the Supreme God, to my spiritual teacher, to all the spiritual teachers, holy masters, all the saints, holy angels, spiritual helpers, and all the great ones. I humbly invoke for your divine guidance, divine love, divine blessings, for illumination, for divine oneness, divine bliss, divine health, and divine protection. I thank you in full faith. So be it. So today we are doing the eighth class of the season. Eighth. Yeah, I think we are doing the eighth class of the season. In this class, we had few questions, and I think we majorly had two questions. And apart from that, I thought I'll just again clarify some of the fundamental concepts that we sort of need to know. Okay. So the very first question that I had today was, how do, so this was from a doctor. So she did not want to reveal her identity for various reasons. So basically, she typically what happens is they get to meet a lot of critical cases, and they are dealing with various kinds of ups and downs with people on a daily basis. So her major question was, how do I deal with all the um, how do I deal with people dying? How do I deal with people not recovering? How do I deal with, in fact, some of the friends also approach her and then she's working with them on a daily basis. So when things go south and it doesn't turn out to be as they expected, how do we handle such situations? Let me see if there is anything that is clearly. So, how do I become more rational when dealing with near and dear ones in critical emergency situations? How do I deal with people's last words? And although we know that nothing is in our hands, but we were always hoping that there is something that could save people. And there is, so while working with also critical cases or in general cases, especially when it comes to, let's say, a surgeon and similar kind of services. So even one small mistake here and there could actually cost the patient a lot of issues, right? Things can go south. So things are life threatening. And the patients, people will be ready to blame us for all the change, all the problems that happen with respect to the patient. So there is a constant stress to be able to solve the issue. And in that acute situation, we have to be very calm. And only when we are calm, we are able to actually handle that. So typically, only with that clear state of mind will they be able to operate properly. I am knowledgeable, but not an inherently calm person. I've dealt with challenges in life and all of those things. So she has been going through the classes, but at the same time, there are all of these stresses, and she has some elders in her, would you say, in her acquaintance, where she looks forward, where she looks up to them, and then she sees that they are all very calm and they handle critical cases with a lot of thing. And she also sees that they are coming from a lot of sadhana. They bring under their plate a lot of sadhana, rather they bring on their plate a lot of sadhana and a lot of bhakti on God and all of that. She's talking about doctors only. So how do I also come to that place? I'm not a doctor, but at the same time, maybe something similar is what I have worked on for the last more than a decade now as a nature cure practitioner. And by God's grace, for my own spiritual growth, I have people karmically have come to me with lots of life-threatening cases like cancers and all of that. And since I don't have any formal background, I don't have a degree or any such thing. I have never thought that I am capable of obviously working on all of them, because I don't even know the physiological aspects of what even doctors know, uh, and what scientists know or whatever. I don't know anything. So from where is all of this confidence that people are getting to come to me, and where is all of that little bit of knowledge that I have? Where is all that coming from me? Maybe because I have to spiritually grow, some knowledge has been given so that I can share it with other people, so that whatever triggers they give me in the process of working with them, that is my spiritual growth. So my my approach to working with people has been majorly that they are going to show me something, and those are going to be my triggers, and they will come to me to show me my own limitations, and I will understand that, and maybe take that time to overcome my own challenges. So I see these interactions mostly like an opportunity for my own spiritual growth, because as we already know that fundamentally we are only always seeing our own reflection, and we are seeing our own reflection in the sense, in the other soul coming from using a form or a shape in the form of a pose, whatever behavioral changes or labels or whatever when we see them, something comes in our minds, the thoughts come in our mind, those are nothing but those thoughts are going through my own thought process, right? Through my own filters of my own mind, my own belief systems, and my own emotions and all that. So we say that what we see in them is our own reflection, because it did not come from outside. The eyes gathered something, or the ears gathered something, the senses gathered something, and that data was processed by what was inside me, the program that was inside me, and hence we say that what I see in somebody is a reflection of me only, because that processing is happening from inside me. So in that sense, obviously, if I see my family and my children and all of those people, if I see them as a reflection, or the content that they're giving to me as a reflection, or the experiences that they are giving me as a reflection of what I am, obviously clients also have to be the same, right? So even for doctors, they may be in the profession of being a doctor, but again, every single human being is always seeing their own reflection. So for me also, even when you all bring up questions to me, there is always something that is connected to me, and there is always something that I have to decipher to see my own triggers in that. And whether it's a client, whether it's people coming and asking questions, or whether I'm seeing somebody else on the road, or whether I'm seeing somebody else in a temple, it is always about a newspaper that is always talking about me, a reflection, a mirror that is always talking about me, and an opportunity that is always given to uplift me, and giving me an opportunity to always go towards my own spiritual growth, to learn my lessons and go towards my spiritual growth, to detach from my belief systems. It is all, universe is always working. There is nothing like there is even a single second where I'm going to enjoy my life without even thinking about myself. I may not be able to think about myself, but opportunities are coming, poses are coming. Everybody is constantly working and doing their job as a messenger of God. I may not be doing my job because I'm lost in my own ego, but opportunities are constantly coming because God is doing his work. So, similarly, even for a doctor, this is the same case. Every single case is coming to them to help them discover their own triggers, to their own limitations or obstacles towards their own self realization. And see, when we how do we go to this moksha, which is our everybody's goal for that matter? How is everybody doing different things and going to this goal? Because in whatever duties we do, we are ultimately serving that God only, because that God is only within us. He's the one who is uh, who who is giving us our pran shakti, who is making all our sense organs work and everything, who is giving us all of these. So that very existence in our life is for God. So ultimately, we are all that instruments of God only. So, like how a doctor has his own instruments, like let's say a knife or a scissor or something, the scissor doesn't, the same scissor can be used to, let's say, cut a cloth, it can be used to cut a human body, it can be used to cut many other things. So the knife itself or the scissor itself doesn't really, it's doing, it's just doing cutting and cutting. But uh sorry, just give me a minute. So the tool itself really doesn't have a, what do you say, mind of its own. Technically, it doesn't have a mind of its own. But then when we become tools, we are human beings, we are not non-living things. So we already have a buddhi, or we have an intellect, a discriminatory capacity, which will say this is right, this is wrong, and those kinds of things. Plus, we also have our ego, which drives our body consciousness, which predominantly most of us are in. So there is always that opportunity for intervention. So hence, we may constantly keep thinking that I am actually doing this job. I am doing this surgery. I am I am doing any odd thing. For example, let's say a cancer case come to me or something like that. If I think that I am resolving this case and I am accountable and I am responsible for their healing, then you can understand how much how stressful I would be. Because let's say I will tell them whatever I think is the right thing to do, and then let's say they keep doing, and they keep doing or they don't do properly. And now, like, if I am thinking that I am responsible for their healing because they have come to me, and if they are not doing, imagine how stressed I would be, how much of pressure I would be putting on them to make them do whatever I am telling them to do. Because my belief system will say only if they do this, then only they will heal. And I will be so stressed about it because they are not following. Or let's say, even if they follow, and for some reason things didn't go as per whatever our expectations is, and they are not healing, or whatever symptoms are saying that they are not healing, then again I will be stressed. What else I can do? What else I can do? Where will I go? Who will I ask for help? What more can I do? Imagine the kind of stress I am going through, and in that stress, I am interacting with them. And as it is, what are we seeing? Reflection, right? So, if I am stressed, imagine how stressed that energy will be and how much I will be giving to them. It is such a vicious loop, isn't it? So, it is very important for any of the services where we are where life is involved, or any such thing let's say even pilots for that matter, they are, if they feel if they think that they are responsible for flying this flight, and if they make a mistake, then all these people's lives are at stake. That is also huge responsibility if they think in that angle. So ultimately, if we start thinking that, hey, I am an instrument, I will only do to the best of my abilities what I am, what my knowledge says, that's it. Beyond that, how the results turn out to be is none of my business. The results can be such that, okay, yeah, in this case, let's say doctor is on the operation table and the patient dies. And now all of the people are blaming him and saying he did not do the operation properly. That's why the patient died. So typically, there is no police case or anything involved in most of these cases. It's just the guilt that is involved for the doctor. So maybe he's going to feel guilty. When will he feel guilty? When he's thinking that I was responsible for saving this life. So obviously, then he will feel guilty when the patient dies. But what if he thought I am going to just focus on giving my best to this operation, and that's it. My joys or my satisfaction or everything, my duty ends with this operation. And even while doing the operation, he should remember that who is giving me those thoughts. Cut this, do that. Who is giving me those thoughts? Because there is so much of knowledge in the head, or there is so much of access to that knowledge base that I've studied, maybe in books or experience or whatever it is that has so many things are in my head. Now, how do we know what to go access? It is like a huge library. Now, how do you know which book to go access, which page to go refer? How do we know all those things? We are not. Are we doing physically doing all those things? Even when let's say now I'm talking, how do I know where to go access information? I don't know. I'm just talking, and words are coming in my mouth. Similarly, for a musician, he's just playing the instrument. Notes are coming in his hands, or notes are coming out from the mind body coordination, you can say. And now let's say doctor is operating, or he's doing something. So all that, where is it coming from? If we can technically dissect all of these tasks and say, I did this, I did this, did I do this, did I do this, did I do this, you will clearly see that you don't know how to do it. How do I get this information? Oh, I actually don't know how to get that information. The information is just coming, and I think that I'm just following the commands of that information. That's all. And I recognize those commands. That much you can understand. That's all. I recognize those commands. And how do I recognize those commands? How do I recognize those thoughts that are coming to me? Because it has been made familiar to me, maybe in the as a part of my MBBS education, or as a part of my experience while doing my internship, or whatever that experience is. It has been already made familiar to me, and from that database some knowledge is basically coming to me, some specific knowledge is coming to me, and it is also familiar, and it feels right also, and I'm actually doing that as a task. But how did all of this come together? Did I make it happen with my ego? No, it is automatically coming, and whoever is sending this is obviously using me as an instrument. And in this process, if that patient died, okay, Krishna has already told in Bhagavad Gita that whoever has to die at whatever time they have to die, that is already decided before itself. So who am I to kill this person on the operation table and to even feel that I killed them on the operation table? So it is none of my business. Why do we start feeling that, oh my God, because of me the patient died? It is because of ignorance. First of all, nobody has sat through and understood that, hey, these are the set of things that happen if I am standing on the operation table doing these set of tasks. Nobody has actually dissected all those small information or set of tasks that actually happened, which I explained till now. They never did it. They just thought, I am this doctor who has all this knowledge, and automatically somehow I know everything, and then I'm putting that on this body. And why did the patient die? Your intention was to basically save the patient, to give them that life or whatever, right? Why did the patient die? If everything you knew, why did the patient die? So which means there is already something beyond my control. Somebody's life is also not in my hands. So what is in your hands? So nothing is in our hands. Absolutely nothing is in our hands. So when we start to observe many of these details from that perspective of what do I know? How do I know this? Who is giving me this information? And how do I know I have to do this only? Why not so much of other information? And how did this information that I have to do, let's say it's a liver operation or something, how do I know this liver operation exactly? All only those details are coming into my head. Why not the heart stuff? Why not maybe the other leg stuff and all of that? Maybe they already know about it, but maybe that is not coming. So these are the questions that one has to ask themselves, and these are the initial set of introspections that every single healthcare professional has to do to understand that nothing is in their hands. This will make them feel very humble to understand that, hey, I don't know anything, but somebody is using me to this capacity and giving me this. And they are doing all this job, rather, the God within me is doing all this job. But hey, I'm getting this name and fame and money and position, and I'm getting all the credit. In the external world, I'm taking all the credit, but actually, somebody else is doing this job and they are not even expecting any credit. But what if this person drops out? What if this person just disappears from the equation? Obviously, I will not be able to perform. Maybe I will even forget what knowledge I already have also. So, this is the this is the fundamental aspects of life that we need to really introspect and say that God is everything. If he is everything, if he is right from an atom, if he is the one who's literally managing this whole cosmos, then who am I? I'm hardly even a speck of dust in this whole cosmos. And technically I'm a dust only, we are all stardusts for that matter. So in that sense, when a doctor starts believing that, hey, I am not doing anything, I'm just an instrument of God. If somebody has to die on the operation table, it is because that soul had already planned its death on the operation table. And if somebody is dying after in the ICU or something, that also. But what do I have in my hands to be ethical, to do the right thing? Am I giving a truthful contribution to my job? Would God be very happy if he is if he thinks about me, is he going to be very proud of me? Am I cheating? Am I taking some money from somebody from the insurance company or whatever happens there? I'm not really sure what all happens there. I'm just saying. So if there is any illegal stuff that is happening, am I involved in that illegal stuff? See, we can only do that much. And as long as we are able to do that much, that is all is our contribution there. And we can only be ethical, we can only be truthful, and whatever instructions come, we should think that he is the one who's giving me those instructions. I'll just follow those instructions. So that's it. We just have to go with the flow. Whether this comes with name, whether this comes with fame, whether this comes with all kinds of ups and downs, and people dying and people blaming and all of those things is based on our karma, because we need those triggers in our life. We need those limitations to be seen in our own personality. Those are poses giving us triggers. Everything is anyway a trigger, but when we are grateful for the ups in our life as a doctor, we need to be also grateful for the downs in our life as a doctor, because those downs are also spiritually helping us grow. So even when I'm working with some of these cases, that is what I think. That's all, which is why I don't hesitate to take even terminally ill cases, because I don't think I'm healing them or anything, and I don't tell them that I'm some savior. I'm going to rather you are going to be saved. Your life is going to be saved. I don't tell any such thing. I said I'll just tell them, see, I will tell you what all instructions I have to tell you, and you have to follow. You, if it's your choice, you can follow all of those things. Beyond that, it's God's. It's your life path and God's life, God's choice, God's will. That's it. But what we can do is forget about even the desire to live, or the desire to continue to live, or the fear of dying because of this issue. Because I mean, even a healthy person can get die tomorrow. For example, all those people who died in that air crash, did they even think? Some lady, she left the laptop, she took permission from her superior, and she went to watch that cricket game, right? The RCB match game that happened, the not the game, the celebration that happened in Bangalore. She died. Did she even think that she's going to die? She didn't have any diseases. They didn't mention about any disease. She was very young. She died. So, and all those people who died in the plane crash, they didn't think that they're going to die. They definitely thought that they're going to meet their loved ones on the other side. But they all died. So, which means death is definitely not something that we are battling. We are not fighting death at all, because death is a secret, a person who comes secretly and just takes us and goes away. We are not even working towards that. What we are working towards is the quality of life while we are alive. And whether it's a cancer case, whether it is any case, we are not even talking about death at all. We are only talking about, yeah, maybe there is a lot of belief system that cancer is a terminal issue, and we have to work towards all of these things. So, all that we are doing is we are saying, let's give our best shot. Because today, let's say some of us don't have cancer, so are we as serious as the person who has cancer? No, we are not as serious as the one who has cancer. They have so much of seriousness, and if God willing, they are also doing their sadhana and they are doing their whatever healing and all of those things. Then they have that inner drive to give their best shot, which means there is so much, that's a golden opportunity for them to spiritually grow. And while we already know about all of those things, I am not putting in 1% of the effort that they are putting. For example, some of the cases that I know, they are putting 4 hours of sadhana on their plate on a daily basis. Even while working, they have a job, but because of cancer, that is the sadhana that they are putting towards God. 4 hours. Are we even spending 1 hour on God? No. Why? Because we're taking it for granted that, hey, I'm going to be alive. I don't have any problem. Right? So the issue is, am I feeling like I am God's instrument in this whole job? So that person will start feeling that, hey, I am getting this golden opportunity. So as a practitioner, that is what I tell them. Hey, this is your golden opportunity. Give your best. That is what I make them do. And over a period of time, they are not thinking about their death at all. Their their focus has majorly shifted from death to something else. The death to maybe give their sadhana the best shot. And beyond that, whatever happens, happens. If they die, they are anyway going to reap the rewards that they have given now. If they are living, they will live to tell the story. So we don't know whether they are going to live or die. So death is definitely not something that human beings should be taking care of, definitely not even healthcare professionals. Because we are not there to promise them life. Who is there to promise them life? Who knows the future? Who knows their soul plan? We don't even have our own soul plan. So how do we know about their own soul plan? What happens to somebody is their own karma, and what is our karma is when they give us those triggers. We may have guilt, we may have what do you say, some form of, if you have already gambled through some expectations, then there is always sadness, as explained in the last two classes. See, it's like this. There is, let's say, a cricket match going on, and typically there are people who do bets. They say, hey, if RCB wins, I'm going to pay you 100 rupees. If so and so wins, I'm going to pay you whatever. Or somebody will say, if so, all of this betting happens, right? Typically, it happens in games and matches and all of that, betting happens. So we are also doing that betting when you do expectations, right? God, we are technically going and saying, okay, see, I am betting that this person is going to heal, and then I can put 100 rupees on the table, or I can put 100 points of my punya on the table to say that this person is going to live, because that is my expectation. That is called expectations. When you do gambling with God, or if you do gambling with what God is controlling, in God's match, or you can say in God's game. If you do betting, you are playing with your own merits or your own punya. So you're saying, I'm going to go 100 points or whatever is the points that he will technically go off. You are doing that is called expectations. And then once you say, I'm expecting this person to live, you have already gone down by that much of punya. And on top of that, I already discussed about two possible cases. In one case, it may work, it may not work. If it doesn't work anyway, you've lost the game. And those 100 points you've already lost because you had already invested in the game and somebody took it, which is, let's say, God drained it out of you. Now, if they literally become alive because of your expectation, not because of your expectation, it is because of their own karma, they lived. But they may maybe have some, let's say, breathing issues or something like that, which means you're not too happy. Oh my God, they are alive, but they're still living on a ventilator. Not a very pleasant case to feel happy about. See, again, you lost. So, expectations is like gambling with God, gambling on God's game, betting on God's game. To say, and what is the data that we even have? Let's say people who even sometimes bet based on the capability of the team, they have data. But when we bet on God's game, we have no data. We are like dumb people who bet. So, to be very honest, we have become so good at unnecessarily constantly betting and betting and betting and on God's game that we constantly keep draining our energy. So hence we need to watch out for these expectations. So as doctors or as practitioners, we can't expect things to go in a certain way, which is where surrender comes in. Surrender says that you do your duty, karmanyevadikaraste, which Krishna has already told in Bhagavad Gita, karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, ma karma phalahetur bhurmate sangostva akarmani. He says that you mind your own duty. Don't come, you have no right to the fruits of action, which means you have no right to expect anything from the fruits of action. It's my own area. It's my work. Giving you fruits for your action is my job. You don't interfere in that area. What is your area? Your area is to give the best. You have some knowledge. You know what task has to be done. You do that. Focus only on that and give your 100% to only that. So if you've done your job on the OT, on wherever you do, if you've given your best, but did you give your best? No, I was putting all my mind on the expectations. I was playing a gambling match in the background, and I've been trying to also do my duty here. Now, where is the energy? You already betted that on the game, God's game. You're constantly on a draining mode. So, where is the high energy there? Where is the presence of mind going to come in that low energy? Nothing is going to come. So you want the patient to be saved, but you are only putting his life at stake by going down in terms of energy. So intention is totally ulta, correct? So as practitioners, we have to practice surrender and say, I'm going to give my best, truthfully, honestly, with lots of integrity, without thinking about anything, without interfering in God's fruit of actions, outcomes game. I am just going to give my best. After that, whatever comes is my karma. And I am going to apply the teachings of the class and then I am going to watch for the triggers. That's it. Whatever triggers come, I'll say, thank you, God, for showing me this obstacle that is within me. And I'm going to work on that, which is detach from that. See, acceptance is what? Acceptance is to detach. Detach means when we are attached to something, we want things to go in a certain way. But when we are detached from something, we don't care what happens. We don't care what happens to that. Similarly, if there is a belief system and we want to protect that belief system, we will fight to protect that belief system. But if we don't care about that belief system, because we know it's outdated, we don't go to fight anybody. We just stay the way it is. I'm not going to put any more investment on this belief system in terms of my energy. So you just stay as you are. Like how she was explaining in the group that her husband and son were fighting, right? And Shri was explaining her husband and son were fighting, and then this time she felt detached. She didn't side with anybody. She didn't take her husband's side, she didn't take her son's side, and she also already felt that, yeah, whatever had to happen is anyway happening. Yeah, they also have to go through this fighting to to let's say go through their own journey. So yeah, let them fight. What is there? Because so she's seen so many fights, and every single fight that she has tried to save has only given her a heartache and stress and all of that. And she felt relieved this time because she had nothing, no role to play, and she had allowed God to play his role. And she felt so calm, she felt so composed. This is what surrender does, to allow things to happen because God knows what He's doing. I mean, if you actually listen to Mahabharat or if you read Mahabharat, not the serial Mahabharat, if you read the scripture Mahabharata, or if you don't know how to read Sanskrit or understand Sanskrit, hear from some Pandit if they are reading the shloka and explaining the shloka. You'll see so clearly the hands of Krishna, how he comes when it's not time for people to die. He will come from somewhere and protect them. But when it's time for them to die, he's nowhere in the scene. Those people will aram se die. And the same person is protected on some other day. You will clearly see that when time to die comes, nobody is there. Nobody is there to protect them. Nobody is there. I mean, God wants them to die because their time on earth has ended. So we are no, we if somebody's time to be sad is that now, you can't save them from being sad. You can't make them happy. At the same time, you can't save them from dying also. Right? Whatever has to happen at whatever time, it is already happening. That because the past, present, future has already happened. We are just witnessing it in terms of time, that's all. Because time is going very slowly in our dimension. So, in that moment, it is like that one single point is expanded to a past, to a present, and to a future. And we are seeing it in an elapsed mode, that's all. So, in that sense, whatever is happening in only in that present moment. And whatever has to happen has already been decided because we are not in that enlightened state where we go and get to our soul level, we change decisions of our soul and all that. We are not even in that state. We are absolutely in that slave mode, total body consciousness, absolutely not having clue of who we are. So, whatever is that plan only has to get executed because there is nobody changing the plan. No dynamic change of plan is happening. But what is actually happening is the maybe we have done better based on the knowledge provided, or we may not have performed better based on the knowledge provided. Because there is this component of ego and response versus reaction. Sometimes we are still in reactive mode, sometimes we are okay in acceptance mode. So, all of that is also happening. So, ultimately, I think in this topic, what I want to say is the more we develop this understanding of who God is, how much He is in control, and what is my contribution to this whole thing from an ego perspective. I am doing because of me, my case, my client, my attachment, my need for them to be healed so that I can be happy, my what do you say on my hall of fame These are the cases that I've resolved. All of these, you can say whatever you want to the world, but it should again come from a place of, at least in your mind, there has to be this thing that I am not the doer at all. And all of this that I'm claiming that I did is because I'm speaking on behalf of God. He's the one who is doing everything, and his name is XYZ. And he's coming to the world in the form of XYZ, and that name is taking all this credit. But this body has nothing to do with that. So at least you should have that clear demarcation of I am nothing, he is everything. So only when that humility comes, then only you will be in a calm state, you will pray, and then you will go and then do your job. Go do that operation theater. You will be perfectly calm when you're working on that case. Because you don't care whether what happens to that person, because you know whatever knowledge is going to come is also from there. So, in that sense, nothing is in your control. You are leaving everything to that God. And all you want to do at that job at that time is not think about the future, not go and then put your energy on the future by through expectations and do gambling with God. Don't do that. Because we all know that gambling is not something that we would ever do. Do we all think that it is right to go and then, I mean, today's gambling is, let's say, go and play in a club, or let's say put money on the table and play, or go to that what is that horse match and go play. We don't do that frequently. At least seekers don't do that as much as possible. So if you are not playing any match of gambling, let's all assume that we are still playing all that match of gambling with expectations with our children. There also we are playing a game. God, I know what God is going to do. He is going to, let's say your child has never studied in the past. And this, I know my child will not study this time also. I'm sure he is watching YouTube. Expectations. See, betting everywhere. Expectations everywhere we are doing that because we are so good at that. We have practiced that so much. So we need to be very, very conscious of that as much as possible. And once you recognize that you are already doing it, you can't do anything about it. You can only acknowledge that, oh yeah, I'm doing it. That's it. I mean, it's okay. At least acknowledgement is, um, at least we are able to, it's not like we lost everything. Like I gave that example of, there's a glass container in which there is muddy water. Now there is a tap water, that is that the tap running tap water. You put that muddy water glass container like this under it. Now this water is obviously going to continue to pour, and this is also full. So what will happen? This will start to overflow. Okay, what will overflow initially is all the muddy water, and this new water is already displacing the muddy water. So it will take time for the muddy water inside our antakaran or our conscience to get out. All the dirt, all the limited beliefs, all that stuff that we have that the triggers are showing, it will take time for it to get out quickly. But what is our job is we need to be constantly in touch with that running water with we need to be constantly in touch with our sadhana. It's okay if you're not able to go to step 5. You should be in step 1. Step 1 only will lead to step 2. Step 2 only will lead to step 3. You can't say I'll jump to step 5 and then I'm going to do chanting, I'm going to sit and do for 1 hour. It may never happen. Maybe you should just start listening to some shlokas and all of that. See, first of all, if our goal is self-realization, there are only two things that we need to. There is ego, there is God. Today, if ego is running our world, if Ravan is running our world, if Ram has to win, we have to at least try to go towards Ram, right? Is Ram my focus? Is he my goal? Or Ravan is my goal? As of now, he's the one who's currently ruling, and I'm not happy about it because I don't have peace in my life. We have already recognized that, which is why we have come to this satsang. We somehow want to get out of his, let's say, rulership. So what should we do? First, we need to see who is this other ruler that I can. So I want to just get out of this country. I want to go to another country, or I want to go to some other ruler. I want to go to some other king under somebody's rulership. So first, who should I go to? God. Okay, next there is only one other person. Who's God? No, who's God? Is he good? Or is he also like Ravan only? First, we should know about all that, no? Who's this God? Is he better? Or is he also going to give me the same problems? So first, we need to think about all that. Then, in the process of recognizing who's this God, what is his job, what all does he do, what does he control, is he greater than ego, or is ego greater than him? Is it all, even when I go under him, is it going to be the same problem for me? Am I always going to be sad there also? So when you ask yourself these questions and you start knowing about him, then somewhere you are going. So who will know about God? Yeah, maybe you'll start with YouTube, or maybe with some satsangs like this, maybe little bit I'll tell here. Then whatever you're in your childhood, something or the other you would have got exposed to, maybe in your school, some prayers, something you would have got exposed to. Start listening to those. Maybe your friends know something, or maybe your elders know something. Forget anybody. Go to a temple or go to a church, where whatever is your place of worship. Go there. Ask them, where do I start? They may tell something. Don't judge anything. Just go start off doing something. It's like saying, okay, yeah, it's okay. There is some running water. It's not like I have to stand under a waterfalls right now. I can't go under a waterfalls right now, maybe because I may not be able to take that waterfall. I may fall off. I may get drowned and go off. So maybe all I need is a trickle of water that is coming from some tap. So go to some tap, start somewhere. Slowly, slowly, you will be led to better taps, better water sources, and better water speed. All of that will happen, because step one only will lead to step two, step two only will lead to step three. So which means initially you'll be listening to some stotram, or you'll be chanting something, or whatever it is. You may not be using your mouth. Initially you'll be here using your ears, and then maybe you will see some serials, god related serials. Actually, god related serials are a very great place to start, because if not for zero, they will show you something. Later on, when you come to some let's say a scholarly stage or something, then you say, in this serial this was wrong, in that serial that was, then you'll come to judgment level. But then at that time, as of now, we are not there. So start with something, know about God, understand why you need to even go to somebody else's rulership, which is God's rulership. I mean, this is only our understanding. God is already ruling. Ego also doesn't know that God is ruling, but we think that ego is ruling us, and I am doing this, I that we have, that is what we think. So first of all, when we start to know God in some way or the other, start to invest time in using your senses to discover about him, to know information. So the more and more and more you know about him through various different channels, even if you don't know some, if they say, okay, this sloka, this mantra, hear it, chant it, don't look for any benefits. Just think that if I'm touching that, it is like as if I am going under a tap. As per that experiment, I'm going under the tap. The longer I am under the tap, with whatever tools that are connected to God, I'm obviously under the same tap or different taps. But tap water is definitely helping me, because it is displacing all the muddy water that is within me. Because what this tap water will do is, the more and more tap water displaces the muddy water, you will get more clarity to detach from your belief systems. You will get more clarity to practice acceptance. You will get more clarity. So it will take you to a great state of awareness. Hence, sadhana is very important. That is what is called sadhana. Sadhana means to go under tap water. That's all. In what ways you go under tap water, what forms of tap water, whether you go to Sai Baba, whether you go and listen to his own stories, whether you chant and do, let's say, Krishna stuff, or whether you go do Rama stuff, whether you go do Durga Devi stuff, it really does not matter, because ultimately it's all Parabrahma only. It's the same God coming into coming to give different messages in different forms of deities. So we are not there to actually judge which deity is good for me, who is the great person, who is greater than this person, who is greater than that person. We are not there yet. First of all, God only is optional. Then we'll think about, oh yeah, let me see which path shall I take for self-realization. Oh yeah, I am Mahavira, I'll take this path. We are not there yet. People like this Mahavira, Buddha, or whoever, they took various different paths, and then they attained self-realization. We are much behind as of now. We are as of now still, God, is God there? Okay, how do we even think about God on a daily basis? Okay, yeah, as of now only 1 hour. Okay, yeah, that much only God is there in my life. That much only space I have for God. So in our mind, we have only that much time for God. Rest of the time we are only thinking about our ruler ego, correct? So first we need to start displacing that ego with God. Only then God like thoughts, God like actions, God like, let's say, speech, and everything will come out of our mouth. Until then it will not come, because only then, no, whatever we are, that much only will spill, no. If muddy water only more is there inside us, muddy water will spill out. If that white water only is there more within us, then the white water only will spill out if you go under the more of tap water. So hence it's important that you cannot remove anything that you don't like from within you. You can only displace that with something that is better than that. And the only thing that is better is the highest version of yourself, which is something related to God, sattvic stuff. Because whatever we don't like today is all the tamasic stuff. So we have to replace it with something that is better, more divine, and have that connection with God in some way or the other. It will come to you, because what is good for you, only you will know. So start off with something, hold on to the string that you're getting to. Later on, one will lead to the other, another thing will lead to the other. And when something else leads to something else, be okay to leave something and go to something else. Let's say Durga Devi came to you and then you did something. Ah, it is so good. You feel so energetic. All that is there. Don't get stuck there. Don't get stuck with all those energy feelings and, oh yeah, I'm feeling high. I'm feeling her energy coming within me. Don't stay there, because all this is like a scenic route on the on a railway in a journey. All the scenic routes that you see, idhar udhar, it is like that. Don't stay there. If something else comes up, catch that, leave this, go ahead. Because God is not limited to the vibrations of Durga Devi. Ah, I'm feeling those vibrations. Don't end yourself there, because that is also physical. That is also very much involving your senses, your mind, and ego, thinking that, I'm feeling good and all of that. So, God is not that. You cannot experience God with your mind, with your intellect, and with your senses. But if we have to experience God with all of these things, it is only with the divine qualities in a human being. In a human being, all the divine qualities that, let's say, all the goodness that comes and expresses through a human being, those are God. But we have to go beyond that. So, hence, in this journey, don't get stuck to those things. Detach, and go, because even good stuff has to leave us someday in future. Okay, so this is about that doctor thing. Okay, uh, there was this one more question that somebody else had asked. Sorry, which was this? How do we how do we raise our vibrations? Sorry, where did it go? How do we conserve energy? Is it the physical energy you're referring to or spiritual energy? What are the ways to increase the energy within us? See, God, um, um, I'm not talking about I'm talking about when I say this vibration and consciousness and all of that, we are talking about the level of awareness. Okay, when the level of awareness increases, when the sadhana and then that punya, you can call it punya, okay, when that merits that we have earned in terms of our journey has increased a lot, then we are at a certain level, isn't it? So let's say a person, a soul which has just started as a baby soul, he may have just started his journey and his merits may have been very less. But a person who has gone through a lot of, let's say, lives, and he's seen a lot of ups and downs, and he's done a lot of sadhana. Now he's, let's say, a rishi, or even, well, let's say he's a householder, but he's also a very, very sattvic person. He's always speaking the truth. So lots of, let's say, such things are there within him. Now there is a person who is doing a lot of bad deeds, who's doing a lot of, let's say, crimes in his life, and he thinks that is right, and he's doing all that. So if you see all of these people, they are in different levels of their journey. And a person who is on the sattvic stage today he has already passed the previous stages. So you can say that everybody stands in a certain place of consciousness. So when I talk about energy, I'm just talking, I don't know what energy, conservation of energy you're talking about, but I'll come to that conservation of energy. But when we are in general, when we are talking about this journey, we are talking about that punya karma, you can call it, that merits or the points that you have in general. Prarabdha karma is whatever you have brought to this life. Sanchit karma is something that is a collection of work that you have to do to clean up yourself. Now there is agami karma, which is something that will get collected or based on something that you do in today's life. So in general, whatever we have in terms of our plus and minus, that is where we all stand in terms of consciousness. Now, if our pluses are more, then obviously the benefits that we get with respect to those pluses are also going to be more only. But at some point, when we are going towards our moksha, what the Shastra says, both plus also should not be there, minus also should not be there. But today, when minus is very huge in our life, we have to go towards accumulation of more pluses. But as the pluses continue to increase and minus continues to reduce, the quality of your life, the quality of your mind, the quality of your thoughts, the quality of your actions, the quality, all of that will become very superior. And at that level, you will start to, let's say, serve the world with your pluses. And those pluses also will start to continue to melt at some point in time, because you will now start to think that that pluses are also not mine, because they have been done by God. So who am I to even claim credit for those pluses? So you will start to detach from those pluses also, and that's when you will eventually get rid of your plus and minus, although you will have all those benefits. But from a mental standpoint of view, you are mentally and emotionally disconnected from all of those things. So which means you have surrendered it to God, and you don't feel that you are attached to anything so-called mine. So there is no ego left anymore. So then over a period of time, that bhakti will increase, everything will increase, and then over time that moksha will also probably come because of grace of God. So but when we're talking about conservation of energy, this particular question, So what I just spoke about is that let's say rising of consciousness towards God. But when we how do we so as we keep going higher and higher, there has to be this pluses that have to be accumulated, no? That energy, only you can call it, that energy points that will have to accumulate. But what if you're constantly going in, you're accumulating something, again you're draining something. You're accumulating something, you're draining something. You're accumulating something, you're draining something. We are all doing that. Let's say example of expectations itself, right? You earned something through your good deeds and merits and all that, you earned something. Now let's say through expectations, again that got drained out. So this is what is called draining of energy. Now, how do we conserve that energy, which means how do we not drain the energy? So there are various ways. For example, um, from a physical point of view, there are, let's say, if you, from a physical point of view, let's say, various, when you eat food, different foods come with different energy points. For example, the most densest of the foods are all animal based non-vegetarian foods, processed foods and all of those things, which means they have no life in them. And ulta, you have to spend your life energy to digest those things. So which means it's like doing charity, and there is no gain also in that. At least if you do charity with a good mindsets, you'll accumulate some punya points. But here with this kind of work, you are not getting anything back in terms of return on investment from, or in terms of eating those foods, except for pleasure. And that is again ego, right? You're eating for ego. And then, but there is no return on investment on that food. So hence, because they are all dead also. So in that sense, they are all very dense in nature. Now, most of the dead foods that we eat, whether it is plant-based foods or animal-based foods, they are all cooked. Compared to the animal-based dead, which is already dead and then that is again cooked and all of that. Let's say plants are alive when they are brought in, and then we cook them. Then let's say for 3 hours, some life will be there. So they call that sattvic and all of that. So like that, every food is graded. So when you say conservation of energy, we already have this energy to digest and we are living, right? So now when we are eating these foods that are already alive, for example, let's say fruits and vegetables and all are, let's say, raw. They're not dead when we eat it. Now when we are eating those foods become this body with all the digestion and processing and all that. So because they are already alive, the body recognizes, our innate intelligence of the body recognizes those foods as, let's say, they can break them down into simple salts and simple sugars and all of that very easily. So ultimately, they also came with some energy. So that energy that was already used in the food, the life force that was already used in the food was used for digestion and all of that. So ultimately, you saved your own life force energy from digesting those foods. So in that sense, from a physical perspective, we conserve that energy. And now what is that conserved energy going to be used for? For, let's say, maintenance of your body. So typically when we are on these raw foods and juices and all of those things, we tend to have more energy, more let's say more that feeling of more activeness and all those things will also be there. Why? Because we saved some energy. It's not like we've drained out eating only dead foods from morning to. So that is also called conservation of energy from in a way of looking at it. Now, when it comes to mental, so when you save food with respect to digestion, when you eat these other foods which also have nutrition, which are also going to save you some energy, it was a win-win situation. So you ended up saving there. Now, when it comes to mental, right? Let's say you're thinking about thoughts which are in the past or the future, which is making you anxious, which is making you fearful, or yeah, all that fearful stuff and all of that. Then typically what happens, you're draining because you're not in the present moment, and You are not thinking towards your self realization, or you're not thinking about God. It is not positive in any sense. So you are not going towards the higher energies. You're not, your emotions are not higher. The emotions that are chosen are lower. So what will happen? We will be draining energies there, because all the, let's say, emotions like fear and other things are heavier in nature. Like non-veg is heavier, I told you, right? Something like fear and other things are also like heavier in nature compared to joy, gratitude, and stuff like that. They are lighter in nature. So when we choose these kinds of energies to constantly be chewing on them mentally, then we are also again draining our system. So mentally, three times the oxygen will be used for thinking. That is why we get drained out if we are thinking like this. On a loop, if we are thinking, we get drained out. Physically, you may not have done a lot of work, but mentally, you will feel so drained out that by 6 o'clock itself, you'll be like, Papa, I'm so tired. Why? Because we are not in that present state of mind. We are not constantly working for God. There is always a lot of expectations. There is always ego based living. We are working through the ego. We are not working against the ego. So, as long as we are working for the ego, there is drain only. With any way, we are draining, because ego related stuff is all negative energy only. But if you're working for God, you're doing your, let's say, you're giving your best, there is absolute surrender, you're doing all your duties for the happiness of God, those kinds of things, no expectations, nothing, chill, then you will tend to be very active. From morning to evening, you'll be very active. Even though you've done a lot of physical work, you'll feel still charged even by 10 o'clock. So it's important that even, let's say, doctors who are like constantly in the hospital and all that, no, it's best that you learn to start living that surrendered lifestyle, because you need that energy. And eat clean as much as possible. Eat a lot of raw, eat a lot of fruits, replace your breakfast with only fruits, drink at least 1 to 1.5 liters of juices every day, keep your body a lot hydrated, then include salads in all your meals. It's important that you do all of those things, because you tend to conserve a lot of energy, not just physically. And also when you practice mental living like this, it is like a beautiful what do you say, service that you can actually bring to your clients. Then from a spiritual point of view, also it means the same thing. You will when we are working towards constantly conserving our energy, majorly working for God, even though we are not sitting for puja and other things, just the fact that we are working for God without self happiness, selfless, that will also um, save a lot of energies. Hmm. Right? So, the only way to increase that is to stay connected to God. If you are connected to a source that is the highest source of energy, obviously that's high. Excuse me. So if you're connected to that source of energy all the time, then we will be getting energy from that source to operate, because we are not operating from our source. We are getting, because we are focusing on that source. From that source only, that energy will come. So the more you think about God, the more you work for God, the more you don't accumulate for your own needs, the more you feel happy thinking about him, doing for him, investing time for him, even though you're serving for your family, even though you're serving your family, even though you're serving your clients, when you see more as being an employee of God, it actually, you will become far more energetic in your life. Things will start to improve a lot more. And these are not just 1 or 2 days work. I'm talking about years and years. It means that year after year, day after day, month after month, year after year, we are constantly doing this. And we're getting better and better only. So there is no end to this journey. We have to keep doing. Somebody who stops doing will fall. Will fall back to the place where they came from. So there is no end to this sadhana. We have to keep doing. That is the whole thing about this journey of consciousness. There is no end to this because God is infinite, and the only way to infinite happiness is to only go and live with God. Because anything, any dimension that is less than God will also have sadness, and it is also finite. Someday, those merit points will get over. We will fall again into lower dimensions and again face the same things and again accumulate merit points, again keep going. So, hence, why don't we start doing it right from now? Let's start working for that God. Let's start understanding that, hey, nothing is in my control. Nothing is in my control. You can think. You can start to think from your own. Why is Smita saying nothing is in my control? These are in my control. Please think over, do some introspection for yourself and understand. Is it really in my control? You can argue with yourself. This is in my control, that is in my control. Then keep asking, how is it in my control? How is it in my control? Then you will start to realize, hey, nothing is in my control. Because if something is in my control, the moment I think about it, it should happen. Because I want it, no? Because I know how to make it happen. If that is not happening, obviously nothing is in my control. So if nothing is in my control, what is the point of even expecting something to come to my control? Meaningless, no? So we have to start to realize all these things because we are blindly leading our life. So hence God says 100% happiness, sorry, 100% awareness is our goal. Today we are not aware. We have to become aware. Okay. So did I answer all the questions? Not sure. Anju, I think you asked some question. Nowadays, I am also too neutral towards any untoward happening in others' life. Um, yeah, being neutral is okay. It's okay to be neutral because being neutral means you're not attached to the outcomes of that incident. It's okay to be. In fact, we should learn to be neutral towards many of these things that happen in our day-to-day life, especially with respect to our children. We have a lot of expectations that and attachments. So I think the more we learn to detach from our children and just do our duty, just do your duty, and that duty, the quality of the duty should be so good because God is watching you, and you are answerable to that God because He's your employer. The way we work in companies and then we give our best shot, He's always watching. He's always watching. You can't cheat. You can't do anything. You can't do illegal stuff. You can't be lazy. You can't do a shoddy job. You can't say, okay, I don't want to get up. It's so boring. You can't do all that because there is always that conscience that keeps telling you, hey, God is watching. It'll make you very active. It is not an easy thing, but it is worth it. It is worth to follow this path because the amount of gratitude you feel in this journey is beautiful. And I am telling only from experience. And that kind of happiness will not come. Like recently, my husband won some competition in his company, and his company is sending him to Switzerland. Switzerland was not even in my bucket list. I mean, it was not even. I don't even have any list for that matter. In that sense, Switzerland was not at all there. Now he's taking me with him. to Switzerland next week, and that is why I'm not going to be there. But no, I have, I have zero, nothing is there in my head about Switzerland, expectations about Switzerland. Maybe in the past when I was young, it was there, but now after engaging so much into all these spiritual pursuits and all of that, now it is like it is coming to me when I least expected it. So, but all I'm asking is help me enjoy that nature's beauty when I see it, because it has become so neutral in my head that I just want to at least appreciate and give it that, rather really look at God's creation and appreciate it. At least that much of awareness I'm asking. That's all I'm asking there. So it comes to that point. The gratitude that we feel in this journey is so overwhelming that even a Switzerland trip will not match it. So God is a very special person. If you go behind him, everything else will look less, if you ask me. And I'm not some sadhu mahatma or something. I'm just a very small person. If a very such a small person who's still in body consciousness can actually feel it, imagine a person who's already who's gone to those levels. Imagine how much of gratefulness and gratitude they might be feeling in this journey. So it's totally not. It's totally worth it to actually be on this path of acceptance, surrender, accepting God's uh, messages via the pose, and accepting that the problems that we have in our life, the triggers that we have in our life is because of what we are attached to. So let's not be attached to God's creations. Let's be attached to God Himself. If the creations only are so beautiful, imagine how beautiful God is, isn't it? So let's go behind the maker and not the objects that He's made or the people that He's made. Let the people, let us serve His creation, but let us not be attached to it. Uh, but we may have attachments without that awareness, but someday we will, the 100% awareness will come. We have to leave that, we have to take that bold step. If we have to, if everything is making us sad and unhappy and depressed and all of that, whatever we are attached to, it is clearly giving us a sign that it is time to let go. And at that time, according to this question, uh, name, fame, if those things are stopping you from accepting some of these flaws that we have within ourselves, then we will be stuck to those issues, right? It is like you can't travel on two boats. Huh, I want the name, fame, and all of those things also, and I want all of my data issues also to go away. There is no magic wand. There is no magic wand. Even after Bhagavad Gita, also Arjun couldn't remember everything. God Himself came and told everything, but he still couldn't remember everything. He still had a lot of human right tendencies. So God also cannot come and save us if we are not willing to move beyond that path, because we all have free will. We have that free will to say, I am still going to remain on this path, feeling sad because I love to be sad. I love my attachments. I love the fact that they bother me. I love the fact that I'm constantly crying because of that. Those are also attachments only. We have to be able to drop that. There is no choice. See, that's what, no, we, there will come a time when we, when the time for change comes, no, in that move, in that, I sent that post of Will Smith. Either it's rock bottom that we will have to hit, or we'll have to hit that highest point. After that, we have to fall. There is no, ego has a limit. Okay, ego has a limit. Only God is infinite. From ego, we have a limit. We can go to the deepest part of that ego and crash, but there is no further. We once we hit, we, let's say we are going in top speed, closing eyes and going in top speed. Somewhere we will go hit something, and only when we hit something, it will be like that jerk. It will wake us up. So rock bottom, if we are going down like this, there is a rock bottom. We will hit that rock bottom and we will wake up. Or if we are climbing and climbing and climbing that egoistic tower of whatever me, mine, and all of that, some point there is always the end. And after that end, life will seem meaningless. You may have heard about so many people who had everything in their life. Like recently, there was one person life that I saw. He was a model. He was also I mean, he was a race car driver or a bike driver, a bike race, sorry, Formula One driver or something like that. And he had everything. He was also the number one, everything he was. But someday he went on some trip with his girlfriend, and that was like a turning point. And then after that, he became a monk-like wanderer. He just left everything because he had seen the top. He had already seen the cliff top, and then he realized that life is nothing, and then he left everything. So our ego should go to that point where it has to realize that this is something that I don't have to be attached to, because it when ego is trying to be to get happiness, no, it is actually trying to keep you comfortable. But then when all the ideas that it has been extinguished, it is over, then it will give up. It will put both its hands up and then it will say, sorry, I don't have any more ideas. And whoever comes at that time in front of that ego is God. Usually it's God only, because God is watching and God will always show up. And when God shows up at that time, this person will surrender. And that's when magic happens. So if somebody's life, you are not seeing any results and you're constantly stuck to wherever you are, remember that you are probably looking for that rock bottom or you're looking for that cliff top. Maybe it's going to come because you may not be the person who will maybe learn midway. Your ego may be needing all that jerks. So it's waiting for that rock bottom. So when that rock bottom hits, you and all those attachments that you have towards those belief systems will just come crushing down. It's like your identity itself will crush. All that identities that you have, I am this person, I am that person, I will never do this because they will think about me like that. Those people will judge me. All of those notions will just come crashing down. And all that you will know at that time is, I don't care. I don't care. How is it that at that time I don't care came and now that I don't care is not coming? Rock bottom. So, yeah, even that is God's grace. Going to rock bottom is also God's grace because ego needs it. Everybody's ego is different. Some egos are very, very strong. They are that I, me, and mine is so strong that the castles that they have built inside their antakaran, the thickness of those walls are very huge. It needs a bomb blast. It needs that rock bottom. So God knows how each and every person is. We don't. But once the rock bottom is hit, the turnaround is beautiful. The transformation is usually beautiful. So, do we have any questions for today? Reaction of a death by a family on doctors. Um, See, many of these things that I think comes again is a part of our karma. Like if a doctor is facing a family and they are throwing allegations at him that you killed, there are two possibilities. Maybe, I mean, from a high level perspective, the doctor may have made mistakes. Maybe maybe he knew what are the instructions to do, but he didn't follow that because ego told him, hey, don't do that, don't do that, because our senior doctor will not approve. You have to take this medicine only because they have done something, whatever, they have some deal or whatever. So maybe there are some things like that you've done. And like I said, the karma adds up. It will never, uh, the seeds that we sow, we have to always reap them, right? What we sow, we have to reap. Karma is like that. So if somebody is coming and then you have to face that situation where, as a doctor, people are telling that you are the killer, you are the killer, you are the killer, and all of that. You have to be able to stand there and face it and pray to God. If you've done the best, if you've done everything in your power, see, there are two things that I've also told in the group. The way to get success in our life, in any aspect, whether it is money, health, relationships, whatever. Two things. First is our effort, our sincere effort, and second one is God's grace. God's grace, let's say you are putting full effort, you have given your best effort, but the results did not come. That is because God's grace came only that much. To that extent only God's grace came. Why did it come only to that extent? Because you did not deserve anything more than what He gave you. Why? Various other factors. Karmically, you did not deserve because you also had some backlogs of karma. So He had to give you only that much of rewards. Now, second, let's say God gives His complete grace. You think that, okay, yeah, I'm going to sit and pray, but I'm not going to put any effort. God's grace will completely shower upon me, and then my effort is absolutely not there. That also won't work, because you may have sit and prayed, but if there is nothing from your side, it is because there is no investment of energy also from your side. So that also won't work. Now you also have put your best. God also has given His best. Then success is yours only. There is no two ways about it. So in this case, if that doctor has given his best, he's been honest, he's done his, like, given his 100% to that, to save that case or whatever, but even then the person died, then all that you can do is say, yeah, I needed to receive this trigger, I needed to experience this experience. And all you can look at is your own triggers of that guilt and feeling of feeling sad and I wish he would have lived, and all of that feelings that you'll have. And all you can do is, okay, I understand that these were within me, these emotions were within me. I am just going to stay with this emotion because I deserve to experience this experience. Because there are so many things in our life. See, all this karma and all of that, no? There are so many deeds that we have done for which, um, if we are, if we feel bad for it, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. I exactly knew the mistake I did. I shouldn't have done that. That kind of remorse when we feel, no, that karma will disappear. But there are so many deeds that we have done in our past for which there is no repentance. Repentance will not make it. You have to go through that experience as it is, or even more than that, because that crime that we've done, so-called crime that we've done, or so-called adharma that we've done towards the cosmos, to imbalance the cosmos, whatever energies that we have sent is so destructive that there is no repentance, or repentance also will not work. You have to be punished for that. So then those kinds of things also will come. I am not in a position, or rather Smita is not in a position to tell you what is that and all, but all I can say is there are these kinds of such things. But who decides what, I really don't know. Let's say at God's level something happens. But whatever we have in our life today, let's say, is a mixture of something that we have done where it is coming to us as a there is no repentance. That is something that we have to go through. We have to go through those pains. We have to go through those sufferings because you've done that to the cosmos. we will, as at an ego level, that ego will never learn to not do that unless it actually sits there in the head. It has to hit the rock bottom kind of thing. So for to teach the ego, because ego is the one that is actually the body consciousness is actually going through that evolution process. So it has to go through that learning process, no? So there are these ups and downs that we have to face in our life, and what ups and downs we face in our life is again decided based on what this ego needs. So some of these things that we have done are too destructive to the cosmos. So those will also come with those kinds of paybacks that we have to do. So um, yeah, whatever. I can only tell that we, irrespective of whatever happens, we have to give our best and go clean from our side. Rest of it is going to come as per our karma, and we have to accept that absolutely. You cannot say, see, I gave my best, but why is this result like this? Hey, this result is not because of what you did now. It is a result of many things from my past. It is just that something which we've earned right now. That result that we've earned now is a result of our past deeds, not what we did right now. But what we did now is going to be invested for our future in the Agami karma. So it is not an equivalent match. I may have studied to the best of my abilities, but I may still not get the first rank. But if I'm getting my first rank, because I definitely gave my best, and also there was this reward that was waiting for me because I deserved it. So hence we have to also accept the outcomes as they are. We have to also give our best the way we are to do. And they are not one and one match. They are never a one and one match. So hence drop your expectations is what the Shastra says, because expectations are there when it's a one-on-one match. But this is not a one-on-one match, which means what you do and the result that you get is not an equivalent match at all. It feels like it is an equivalent match, but if it was an equivalent match, we would have not faced. Rather, we would have understood that this is what we are supposed to get. But we are not like that. No, we have high and low expectations and all of that. Okay, so I would say just use it as a trigger and work on that acceptance process. Yeah, Rakesh, what is your question?
Ma'am, Atmavandan, ma'am.
Atmavandan.
Ma'am, actually, you are saying that whatever the deeds we have done based on karma, it will be done. So, if it's like in the past life, we have not done uh, attaining whatever the God's grace or whatever that is there, and now if we are moving towards like whatever the signs that are coming is towards it's the showing path towards God's way. So, how should we start our path, and how can we at least get aligned with the things that are there in front of us?
See, in your case, you've already done this so many times, which means you have walked this path many times, but maybe you have left it in between because of some expectations or boredom or, oh, this is not working for me kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, like I said, let's say we are standing under the tap for 10 minutes. Oh, what is this? I stood for 10 minutes, but the muddy water is still not going. If you think like that, then I'm saying that you don't stop doing that. Stand there under that tap as long as necessary, because we have done so much of what do you say, imbalance in the cosmos because of our ego, that we may not be able to balance out that while we are in that egoistic mindset only. It takes a lot of ups and downs, give and take, to get to that state, and by grace of God only. So let's keep doing our bit, because we don't know where we stand, Rakesh. We don't know where you stand. You don't know where you stand. But you have to keep doing this. Like I said, to keep going higher, there is no end. You cannot stop this sadhana. You cannot stop and say, I did enough today, but I'm still not seeing results. Because your results, you should feel happy in the quality of work that you actually put, not in the results. If the results are not coming, it is because you still don't deserve it. Like I said, you may put the entire thing, but if that health or money or something is not coming to you yet, it is because you haven't got that energy to deserve that abundance yet. So you keep putting your best. Someday that also will show up. Because if you keep investing your energy in why didn't it show up? Why didn't it show up? Like I said, that expectations, if you've seen the last two classes, I told you how expectations drains us. So drop your expectations. You keep doing whatever is necessary.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay? Because you know about spiritual stuff and all of that. You've done it in the past. So all I would say is stick to it without any expectation. Because like I said, it's like how much you take bath, also we may not get cleaned to the extent that we may have to get cleaned for the expectations that you have. So leave that to God. When it has to come, it will come. I'm telling you, no, if you absolutely switch to that, I will do my work, irrespective of whatever comes. If you're practicing that to the best of your abilities, no, your results will actually come sooner than you expect. But wherever there is expectation, it will get dragged like a rubber band because you are constantly draining your energy. And results are always about high energy. Only where there is high energy, results will show up.
Right, ma'am. Thank you.
And
Thank you so
acceptance,
much.
surrender are tools to stay in that high energy. Because leave it to God, no? Let Him, we have to trust that whatever is we are ready for, God will give. Okay?
Right, ma'am.
Did
Thank
I
you. Thank
answer your question, Rakesh?
you. Completely. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Anju, Pavitra, Hema, Lakshmi, Bindu, Beena, Nageshwari, Kashi, Kirti. Anything that you all would like to share? Roshni, yeah, see, I didn't see you.
Yeah, today I joined late,
I
Smita.
didn't know. I thought
didn't
it's
see the
4:30.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
too I was expecting at 4:30. Suddenly saw the
Yeah, I
message
was waiting.
already
Yeah.
started.
Yeah, suddenly there something came up and I had to leave this evening and I didn't want to cancel the class.
Okay,
So
okay.
I thought, okay, anyway,
No,
there's going to be a recorded session. So if not,
yeah, yeah. No issues.
I hear the
We did
recording.
part of it.
okay, then it's already 4:07. Then
Yeah.
we can close the class. Next week there is no class, so just go through the previous recordings and
Recordings.
I may not respond in the group also. Okay, thank you so much. We'll see the
Okay.
other week. We'll see.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Supreme
Bye,
God.
Smita.
I
Have a
give my
nice
divine
day.
blessings for to my spiritual teacher, to all the spiritual teachers, holy masters, all the saints, holy angels, spiritual helpers, and all the great ones. We thank you for your great, great blessings. Thank you. Sorry, you were telling something? I didn't.
Enjoy your trip. Enjoy your trip, Smita.
Thank you, Bindu. God's grace.
Thank you. Enjoy.
He should make me enjoy.
When are you coming back?
14th.
Okay. See you. Bye. Thank you so much.
Yeah, take care, take care. Bye.
Thank you.